Hello everyone, so today we are reacting to Luke Belmar. Now a bunch of you guys have tagged Luke in comments in different videos, you voted for him on polls, and you basically want me to watch a video of his, react to it and break down the psychology and persuasion and all the different tactics that he's doing to convince you to buy, to start selling and marketing to you and to get you under his spell. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Rob. Welcome. Companies and businesses hire me to help them with persuasion and psychology when it comes to growing their business. I estimate I've made about 100 million in revenue for various different companies in total. So I know a little bit about persuasion, but the benefit of this is I can see the different types of persuasion and things which the influencers are using and then tell them to you guys, because I've got that trained eye which can spot it as well and describe maybe some of the things which go under the radar, which they communicate subtly when they are telling a story perhaps. So that is exactly what I'm going to do today, and up today is Luke Belmar. So let's go and watch some footage of him and see if we can break it down. So I've just done a quick search on Luke Belmar on Google and it says Luke Belmar is an entrepreneur, investor and internet personality. He has 15,000 members, that's impressive, from 72 countries in his Capital Club, which is his community for entrepreneurs. He's worth about 10 million and he made his wealth through drop shipping, e-commerce, NFT and crypto. But I understand from what you guys have been saying, he's all over the internet. I understand he is following some of the same strategies that Andrew Tate is following, which has been obviously particularly successful to get Tate out there. So let's watch some of the interview and see if we can identify what things he's doing, what persuasion techniques and how that works and everything.
I've noticed with your following, you have a very good ratio of the people that are engaging and liking your stuff and watching your videos as well. Because you haven't, even with YouTube, it's not like you put out loads of content, but it seems to be very much high quality.
Quality over quantity wins every single time, because quality, I don't want to be a bitch to the algorithm. You know, I don't want to be the thumbnail guy. I don't want to be chasing likes. I don't want to be chasing follows. I want to incorporate this into my life.
I don't know if you picked up on that, but he did something quite interesting there. He says, I don't want to be the thumbnail guy. I don't want to be going after, you know, the follows and the likes. Instead, I want to be going for quality and like quality messages and things like that. So what he's doing there is he's subtly positioning himself in a position of scarcity, making him sound super valuable compared to other people. So it kind of has that implied superiority compared to other people. It's got that social comparison in there. So when people listen to Luke, they're going to be thinking, oh, you know what? This is a person who is going through with his authentic way. He wants to do things in a very specific way, and because of that it's working out well for him and people seem to like that. And it's quite interesting actually that he is talking about doing quality over quantity, because he seems to be taking as well the same strategy that Andrew Tate has took, which is spreading hundreds of different short form content on different platforms every single day.
What do you think is the number one mistake that a lot of these entrepreneurs are making when they think, oh, you know, they watch all these videos, Iman Gadzhi, maybe they're watching you, a few other people, like, all right, okay, I'm going to start a shipping business or an agency. What are the biggest mistakes they tend to make?
They don't learn the fundamentals. It's so easy, bro. It's so easy to bank money. You know this. Online, anybody can go out and make 10 grand a month, literally. Yeah. But who learns taxes? Who learns budgeting? Who learns human resources? Who learns product and inventory management?
So interesting. Did you pick up what he did there? He did some very subtle persuasion techniques. He said, anyone can go out there and make 10 grand a day, knowing the majority of the population, in fact, can't make 10 grand a day. So he subtly positioned himself as an authority figure and minimized something which the audience think is a huge goal for them. It is the dream for a person starting out to hit somewhere on the scale up to 10 grand a month. Most business owners don't do it statistically, but he's done something which makes it sound very, very easy. So now the audience views him and they think to themselves, you know what, actually, I want to listen to this guy because he thinks that's easy. I think that's difficult. He's minimized the goal as well. Like that, you're thinking too small. So effective techniques. And then secondly, he says, who learns taxes? Who learns budgeting? Who learns human resources? So he's almost created this false dichotomy in which he is positioning there's only two options there. You know, the people who earn 10 grand a day and the people who earn 10 grand a day, and then learn all these other extra skills there. And again, it adds into that sense of authority there. And what he's doing is he's basically putting himself a little bit ahead of the competition, because he's saying, you know, a lot of these guys can teach you how to reach these really easy goals, but not many people will teach you about the accounting, the human resources. And to be honest with you, I do agree a little bit. So if he teaches that, fair play to him.
Because people always ask me how I met Andrew Tate, right? So I met him when he had 83,000 followers on IG. What had happened? He'd gotten banned, right? So I came in with my team. Hey, I got you. I got you taken covered.
What year was this? This was before the big ban.
Yeah, of course. So he'd gotten banned. Like, you know, he gets banned multiple times. It was a rough one. But I hit him up. Hey, I can get your account back within 24 hours. And I paid for it, right? Cost me, I think like $10,000. I paid for it. Took care of him.
He will respect that.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I did it because I was like, okay, I fuck with this guy. I like what he's talking about. I didn't think he was going to be doing 3-5 billion views a week on social platforms.
So he did a few interesting things there. He says, people are always asking me, first of all. And that is a good way to apply social proof to a sentence that you're about to say. People are always asking me. It makes it sound like this is a highly sought after answer. And Andrew Tate is a very popular person on the platforms, right? And Luke here is talking about that he met him before he was actually famous at all, around 80,000 followers on Instagram when he initially got his account banned. And Luke reached out to him then. So he's done very subtle things here. He's social proofed himself, made it seem like his answers are in demand. He's also dropped in Andrew Tate, and he said, because everyone knows Andrew Tate, everyone wants to hear an opinion on Andrew Tate. Everyone wants to know everything about him, right? And so what he's done is he's casually associated himself, made it sound like they're super good friends, and they might be actually. So he's used something called mere association bias to name drop Andrew Tate in there to say that, hey, we're really good friends. And now when people look at Luke, a transference of trust will be transferred from the people who follow Andrew Tate to Luke as well. This is what happens, right? So if you meet a stranger on the street and they say hello to you, you might be like, oh, hello, and then walk off, right? However, if you meet your friend on the street and your friend's friend walks past and your friend says hello to your friend, suddenly your friend's friend is now your friend as well. You're going to start a bit of a conversation with him. It's mere association bias. So it's increased his authority, increased his social proof, and gave him a little bit more trustworthiness from Tate's followers. It's very clever, that little story.
Even when I went to university, I did economics and business management, and I was still like, what the fuck is this? Like, the whole reason I did that degree is I thought I will surely learn how to run a business when I do this.
No chance. I agree, bro.
So essentially, it's really up to you to go out there and learn yourself.
I tweeted the other day, I said, self-education will never betray you. You have to sit down. You don't like to read books? Nobody gives a fuck. The marketplace doesn't care, dude. Yeah. You're not going to learn everything on YouTube. Like, that's what people don't seem to understand. You're not going to learn everything on YouTube. Sometimes you have to crack open the book. Sometimes you have to study. But people think that studying is what you used to do in school. No, go study a topic that interests you. You can't be out here scrolling on TikTok 24/7 with dopamine hits.
I definitely agree with Luke there on some of those parts. Self-education is a massive thing. If you're going into the world now, I would hate to be a person who's just turned 11 or 12 years old with like TikTok and YouTube shorts. Like, does anyone ever read a book again now because we've got such dopamine addicting apps anymore? I don't know. But self-education is really what's going to make you money. It's going to make you a person who can build up rapport with people. It's going to make you interesting. It's going to make you all these things, right? I absolutely agree with Luke there. I do think it's an overgeneralization, though, to say self-education will not betray you, because it depends on who you're learning from and if they're fully informed, right? So I can see how he's like positioning self-education in a way that, like, I run this thing called Capital Club, and this is where we've got all these great ideas circulating around. It's easy to make 10 grand a month, but it's not so easy to, you know, budget in, HR and all this stuff as well, and self-education, blah, 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 blah. I get how he's positioning that, but it really depends on if it's useful for people, right? Because there's a lot of different groups out there, paid communities, masterminds I've attended, by the way, which are not good at all. Basic knowledge, right? Stuff which you don't even need to know. And so it really depends on if the stuff is interesting. And I think the thing about formal education is, yeah, it could be better at teaching us how to not procrastinate, how to make friends, how to negotiate and all this stuff. But also, it's got to try and appeal to all of the masses as well. So it's got a massive challenge there. Does it work well? Depends who you ask, right?
My news was very simple. It was, I think, 2020. I posted on Instagram. I had like 8,000 followers back in the day. And I said, Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. Why? Well, because the Fed started buying assets. So that basically means the Federal Reserve started buying into the market. So they printed money, started dumping into the market. They're driving liquidity. So at that point, everybody that's already positioned is positioned. They use the government, right? And this idea of relief money to drive up the market, print money out of thin air, use that liquidity to boost every single market. You talk the stock market, you can talk crypto, you can talk real estate, everything went through the roof. And everybody that wasn't informed and wasn't positioned, they ended up being the exit liquidity. So the cycle is very simple and it repeats itself time and time again. It's everybody gets positioned early.
So he's doing something interesting here again. He has suggested in the past that he's called Bitcoin's just going to keep going up and up and up. And that gives him that position of authority. He's also talking about how herd mentality works. If you're positioned early and the ones that understand, he's inferring that he is the one that understands. So there's a lot of very subtle selling that's going on here. It's not over the top like Andrew Tate. It's not, with deep empathy like Liver King, who we've looked at. He's not ripping everyone to shreds like Conor McGregor to build his brand. He's actually coming across as a very level-headed, reasonable person. Now, I don't know everything about Luke's backstory here, but you can see that one of his main triggers that he's using with his audience is similar to Alex Hormozy in a little way, and that Alex uses authenticity, uses reciprocity to try and give value out and hope that everyone comes back. Luke does use authority a little bit more. He, casually suggests that by minimizing what would be a very big goal for people, 10 grand a month, he minimizes that, saying it's very, very easy. But all these people that are teaching you to do it, they're not teaching you about all these other important things as well. He's leveraging his authority. He's making himself stand out. I called back in the day, in 2020, that Bitcoin will go to the moon for the people who understand, for the people who are positioned in the correct way. So he's doing that in a very subtle way while also telling about his story, which is to the audience. And that's probably why, as Mike Thurston, the guy who's interviewing him, said before, a lot of your content gets very high engagement. It gets a lot of people talking to you. And that's very common with people who conduct themselves in an authentic manner, who talk about the weaknesses, talk about how they're feeling, and don't oversell as well. Let's keep in mind here, folks, and this is a bit controversial. A person who doesn't oversell and comes across as authentic can be selling just as hard as a person who is really in your face with sales as well. For some reason, people think they're two very separate things. Oh, this person, they, never sell. Believe me, if they're doing content, they're appearing authentic on screen, they are at some level selling to you guys and you're buying into their personal brand. And that seems to be what Luke's whole shtick is here. Again, I don't know the ins and outs about him. I've seen him tagged a bunch of times. He's using authority bias in perhaps the most subtle way I've seen so far from an entrepreneur. He's just sprinkling tiny little bits in it. Again, he's not loudmouth about that. People are obviously interested in what he's got to say because he's got over 1 million views there. One thing that is interesting to me, though, is he does specifically make a comment on how he prefers quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity wins every single time.
And he's referencing content there, but if we just scroll down on this page here, we could see that he is talking about the same thing being shared in a bunch of different clips. Capital Club Minds, Luke Belmar Oriented, Simzaro, Capital Club 2.0, Capital Club Exclusive, Belmar Zen, Badass Maniacs, Capital Club Community. It's got all these multiple different accounts set up, spreading the word of him, but he's emphasizing as well that it's a quality approach. I'd argue with him there. I'd say he's wrong. I'd say it's a quantity approach, and he knows it's a quantity approach. He's not doing anything too much to grab attention, but he is going out there with you know, a lot of volume. Obviously, if people are reclipping the same clip a million times, that is a lot of volume, and you'll see that subscribers and followers will pour in from that. So it's an interesting strategy. I'm just reading through all of the comments here, and like, people seem to be really enjoying what he's saying. The data set I learned, positioning yourself where you want to be a winner. This guy, Luke, is in another level of comprehension of the world. Imagine having all this information and knowledge in just one interview, and in 3 to 5 years, we still broke. Impossible. I'm a woman, I'm impressed by how and what Luke is saying. These comments, I've got to say, do look a little bit sus, because we've seen in the past that when a person who's posting content, and it could be any of the big gurus out there, they get this overwhelmingly positive response in their comments. Comments from people that are saying things like, you've changed my life, it's absolutely incredible what you're doing. And I think, personally, from what I've seen, that is a red flag that they're fake comments, because the odd person might comment like that, but you wouldn't have hundreds of comments saying how life-changing the content is, right? Just think how small like your perception of reality is if you watch a single video and get your entire life changed by it. It's just not the case. You might be like, oh, that was a great video, that was great content, that was very helpful. I've had comments myself on things. Never had somebody say, Rob, you've completely changed my life with this 3-minute video that you've just released. It just doesn't really happen too much. With that said though, when we look at the bot comments, similar language, new accounts, things like this, it could be that he's using bot comments to drive himself up the algorithm. We know for a fact Andrew Tate does, because he has a whole PR agency dedicated to it. We know E-Man does, because he has all these different comments. We know lots of these SMMA YouTubers are desperately trying to get up the algorithm by having tons of fake comments posting all over them, right? So was this video as well received as it's being made out? Because we know perception management is a huge thing in the world now. I don't know, but the guy seems, from what I've seen in that interview, pretty level-headed. I don't know if he's a scam or not. He seems to be able to position himself well and get attention without screaming at the screen. So I don't know, but let me know your comments and thoughts on this one. I know he is a very popular figure, and he's also controversial. I believe he's controversial because he associates himself with Andrew Tate, but maybe you could correct me on that. Let me know in the comments, and take it easy. See you in the next one.